We are all tied up here in game number 5 as Team Good Guys push Playing Ducks to the limits in game number 4 and get an easy victory in Towers of Doom. But game 5 is where it all comes down to. It's going to the wire.
Yeah, it definitely is. And right now, this series is actually starting to be a bit incredible. Again, there's so much on the line for both of these teams. And it comes down to the last map where we are going to decide who has still a chance to move out of the Crucible Sports and who's most likely going to have to face an Open Division team.
Let's do it. Battleground number 5 here. It's going to be Cursed Hollow. Team Good Guys with the pick. Playing Ducks will elect to have first pick.
Now, this is actually a map where HGC is pretty strong, and oftentimes they play an Illidan composition here, at least they did that in the past. They've even shown us... Wait, they have shown us Vikings, right?
No.
No, it was not them they played against.
It was Zealots who ran
Yeah, I'm a little
the
confused
Vikings.
right now. Yeah, you're right.
Zealots ran it.
Either way, I'm hyped for the draft because I want to see if we have something new coming out of one of the two teams here. It's definitely a cool map to finish a series of double boss tributes. Abathur, of course, banned out. Guess what? Medivh is gonna be banned next. No? What?
Get wrecked,
Really?
Caldor. What do you know about this game?
Nothing, apparently. Oriel banned out over Medivh. Let's see if the Ducks actually jump on the chance of taking him this time.
Especially with this battleground, because
This is the original map where Sport Billy stole a boss with a 5-man ley line and just dragged the opponent's team afterwards. So I'm surprised that this is the map where they are saying like, nah, we don't need to ban Medivh out.
especially this battleground, tribute control, portals are great around there, floating around your opponent, keep an eye on them, gives you very easy avenues to move in for mercenary control. Playing Ducks love and favor controlling the double bosses when they get the chance here. Leaving that Medivh up could be a gamble, and we'll see if it pays off for them. Vala.
I mean, one of the two picks is going to be Rhaegar. I'm going to go, like, I mean, it's a huge gamble, I know, and it's a prediction that nobody really expected with the good guys. They never pick Rhaegar, Kappa. What do you... I would have said Rhaegar ATC again. What they played earlier, that would work for them. But then again, they have really been favoring their double support and auto attacker quite highly. So I'm not quite sure what to expect. Maybe Dehaka after all, just like catering towards the global first of all.
Give me ETC Dehaka, Team Good Guys.
That would be what I would expect from most other teams, the exact same way that we've seen it played against them the last time. They were actually the ones that were getting wrecked by EDC and Dehaka, but they seem to be very reluctant to move away from that Rhaegar early pick.
Could see them pull the Illidan off here. Team Good Guys love to be in their 4-man. Dehaka, ETC.
Oh my god.
They
I
just
can't believe it. They did it.
Wow.
I'm loving this.
This is a battleground where it's almost mandatory to pick up these two if you get the chance.
That doesn't matter. They had many battlegrounds where it was basically mandatory. They just didn't do it and said, like, you know what, we screw meta. We are going for Rhaegar first. But yeah, so ETC and Dehaka, that's a fantastic combo for them to take. This is actually great. This is the best start into a draft that we've seen so far, in my opinion. And Playing Ducks will have to play around that somehow. And the interesting part to me is they can't even play Falstad.
Who can play Falstad?
They can't play Falstad, the Ducks. Makes not really a whole lot of sense with their setup that they have here.
Yeah,
I guess you can try and force it, but then you have a Vala and a Falstad, which is traditionally not really what you want. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world where you say, okay, it's an insta-loss, but it's definitely not the setup that you would prefer here.
I feel like Medivh would also fall off too here for the Playing Ducks.
Yeah.
Tassadar, Rhaegar, Vala, so they're definitely going to be moving into the tank/off laner. You could put Tassadar on the side lane and float him around, but you kind of lose out on that 3-man that can push you and break a turret down, and if your opponent doesn't respond, you get a fort for it, so kind of hard to make those work.
I don't know how much they practice right now with Medivh. I would really have loved the Medivh combo. It gets banned out against you the entire time. You know that Sport Billy is good at Medivh. It's a battleground that works for it as well. You can bridge so many of these spots with a quick portal. You have the protection for Vala. Leyline Seal can be used here as well. I think there's a lot to be said for a decent Medivh combo. So I would really have liked that from the Playing Ducks. But then again, I don't know how much they use that right now in their scrims, how much they prioritize it. For the good guys, on the other hand, now that they ban Malthael out, they have to deal with the ban on Uther. So this is the one thing why it's always a little bit weird for them now with the support situation, since they banned out Oriel. They banned out Oriel, then they didn't pay a support, and now one is taken and one is banned away. But we still have tools that they can use here. even with potential double support plays. Brightwing, for example, can be played here. That's one of the heroes they can pick. And I mean, there's a lot. With this setup, you have also pretty decent chances. You could even play into Morales if you wanted to.
Yeah. Could see them also moving into a Grey Main too. They have a lot of lockdown, a lot of setup for it too, for Team Good Guys to move into that. Lunara is an option they have been utilizing way more often lately.
Yeah. Also, Lucio could be played.
With double tank, he's actually really solid.
I'm always worried when we see this much waiting time.
Yeah.
On picks that you expect a little bit faster. Okay, Stukov, first of all, Stukov Brightwing. Okay, that works, and I suppose on the last pick we're going to see then Lunara for Raid Boss. I mean, they have shown some other approaches. They've played Cassia style earlier, but that was in Infernal Shrines when you get more value out of holding that shrine position. But they have a lot of global mobility already, and that's great when you want to outplay someone. And we have seen that used in a few of the games today already. Granted, not from the Good Guys, was against them, but they have shown the same style in the past.
Yeah, what I like about this too is when they get that hyper carry, that 5th pick that they do want to move into, as long as they match Vala, for the first 7 levels, they're good to go. After they get Lunara here and they get that Splintered Spear, they can definitely be able to be in a good spot where they can leave maybe just Stukov and Lunara by themselves to clear it out, and Brightwing can go into those rotations that you're talking about and focus on the solo laners that will be evident here with playing Ducks. We grab Sonya and Johanna for the 4th and 5th pickup.
I like what the Good Guys have against us already. Polymorph works. I mean, playing Ducks have a very straightforward draft. This is like nothing too fancy, nothing crazy. Double support Vala, Cassia again over Lunara here. So taking for the Good Guys. And especially around the silence of Stukov, I like this quite a bit. I really think the silence when it comes to tribute channels, it's a great interrupt. You have the polymorph against Sonya whenever she goes into Whirlwind. So there's a lot of cool engagement tools for both of these teams. ETC Dehaka engagement for the Good Guys. Then you have a Blessed Shield with Johanna Condemn moving in. You have a Sonya, potentially even with Leap, trying to make her play. If you go into the Force Wall over Archon, then you can always try to cut someone off. So both of these teams have a lot of good stuff in their setup there, and I think a lot will come down to, on the side of the Good Guys, I think a lot will come down to 2 aspects. First of all, when we're talking about Stukov, how much of an impact are these silencers going to have? How much can you do with that? And the second thing is the global usage of what we are seeing for the Good Guys, because they have enough tools there that they can play around their opponent. There's no global for the playing Ducks, and that's one thing that would worry me a little bit. So macro play is something that I feel need to see on the side of the Good Guys.
I also like the Cassia last second pickup because it gives them a stronger laning phase compared to what Lunara would have in the early game. Let's go ahead and go into it here. Game number 5. All the marbles are out on the floor here between Team Good Guys and the Playing Ducks.
The last game of the series, it is game 5 between TGG and the Ducks. Stukov played by Kronos, BKB on ETC, Xay playing Cassia, once again supported by 2 supports. An anti-hero will take the side lane. Raid Boss, this time the one on Brightwing.
On the right side, in the red, Eternal playing Sonya, Chris on Vala, Sport Billy playing Tassadar, Wolf Joe on Rhaegar, and Nande on Johanna.
The team that loses this series is more or less guaranteed to drop into the Crucible. No matter who loses it, like from an strictly calculating through the opportunities, there's still like a chance that you make it out of the Crucible. But in order to make that happen, you have to deliver big wins against top 3 teams, which is quite unlikely. So realistically speaking, the loser of this map will have to face a Crucible team.
It becomes a reality that you can't ignore. Straight up here if you get a loss.
Yeah, so right now, let's see how that's gonna work out for the 2 that we're talking about here. Already with the silence can be absolutely great, and Kronos is using that from the get-go to just pressure the wave and also provide a bit of a safety net for Xay here.
Keeping on the poke here. I like how BKB is down here on the side, being able to give them the engage if they want to go in for a fight. Also keeps Chris a little bit more reserved. BKB moving in for the power slide, but missing out on the hit allows Chris to move in and take a very effective trade. Nice little alteration there, while Anti-Hero and Eternal in the top lane will continue to dance back and forth.
Yeah, so currently up at the top lane, Dehaka is definitely doing his thing against Sonya, and Dehaka he's one of the heroes that will have a huge impact on this game, just simply because of the global utility that he provides. Towards the later stages, the Haka can start to pressure towards keep on lanes and delay fights around bosses, for example, or tributes, and force a reaction eventually out of the Ducks. Basically, what TGG can now do with the Haka, considering that the playing Ducks don't have a global, is they can turn this into a reverse game of what we've seen on Infernal Shrines, but it was the Ducks running the Haka, and they did exactly that, pushing the opponent away from the objective with the use of the global mobility.
Hang on here. Bottom side, Sport Billy does take some pressure. Isn't able to back on up. And the globals are going to come in, where you keep talking about it, around these tributes. That's where it's going to be the issue, where Team Good Guys is going to be able to push it in, especially if there are tributes that's spawning a little bit further away from lane, especially that bottom right side or that bottom left or top left side. That's where Team Good Guys will be looking to find the opportunity to move in and try to pick someone off before playing Ducks group up as 5.
So interesting what we saw with the invade here. So in case if you're a bit newer to the game, 2 minutes into the game, the Siege Giants spawn, and shortly after, roughly 30 seconds, their first tribute will appear on the map. So with the tribute always preferring either the top or the bottom side of the map, it's RNG based. If you take your own Siege Giant camp and the tribute spawns on the other side, you get extra value out of the lane because it's far away from the objective. So oftentimes teams go straight in for those Siege Giant camps around the 2-minute mark, and that's what the Ducks were trying to do with Rhaegar. But we had an invade with BKB moving in, which was of course detected by the watchtower, which is why Rhaegar had to move away. So it's an interesting dynamic that we see in a lot of these games, where sometimes just both teams decide to go for the Siege Giant camp, sometimes an invade is planned, as we just saw here, or a single team is going to get away with it and gets an advantage. In this case, though, since the tribute spawns top lane, we have an interrupt in the rotation, as Chris is caught for a second, and everybody else is starting to focus up to the top. The Haka is still there. So it's a bit of an unfortunate spot for the Good Guys, actually, since they can't get the maximum value out of Antihero on his global.
Antihero should be able to delay this here. The rest of the team is trying to come up. Oh my gosh, barely missing out on it. Wolf Joe gets the tribute, and this is unfortunate for Team Good Guys. They were coming in for a big rotation, wanted to get the tribute, and then put 3 in the top once again, and send Anti to the bottom, or middle.
And since they actually had Brightwing already at the bot lane, they would have gotten value out of simply delaying it too, because then the Ducks have to either sacrifice the tribute and send someone down to counter it, or accept that they're going to be fall behind in experience. So overall, this was a really good start for the playing Ducks, getting the first tribute here, and also not falling behind to the globals of their opponent.
At the same time, kudos to Wolf Joe, man, sitting there on that Rhaegar, willing to actually sit there and bite the bullet in case it didn't work out. What if the Haka gets that drag and ETC is there in time for the power slide? That could have gone badly quickly.
Cam is still taken now. And also keep in mind that we are still having that adjustment on Johanna, as we saw already earlier on Tomb of the Spider Queen, with the Eternal Retaliation taken as a level 1 for cooldown reduction. And the reason for it is actually quite simple, because normally it's Laws of Hope that is taken, so that Johanna has some self-sustain, and that you take a bit of the pressure away that your healer, your support usually experiences trying to keep a backline alive. But since we have a double support, it's now no problem whatsoever for Johanna to make that adjustment, to have a bit more wave clear. We can still go for Laws of Hope, but in this case they're just trying to push the waves out a little bit faster, and Johanna has faith in both of these healers, both of the supports keeping her alive.
Right now to fight over the 1 tribute. Vala working on the turrets while Thurnal threatens the fight here on the side. In one-on-one duels, Sonya will do just fine, so it's okay for her to be in that area with Sport building a spot to save her. Anti does come up through with the Brush Stalker though, looking for a fight, but misses out on the drag on the Rhaegar, forced to pull away.
Yeah, but still popping the essence, and they're going in once again, and that could actually still be a hit on Eternal. The tribute is still there as the two are fighting, but guess who's at the bot lane? It's still Brightwing. So the longer this lasts, the better, but nice attempt here to zone out BKB. He moves in and interrupts Sport Billy with a channel though, and Brightwing is still getting value. They're slowly and steadily getting ahead, and in the meantime, that fight here at the top is looking pretty even as Brightwing finally makes a move.
Brightwing finally makes it in here. Johanna will be the one that will start running away. Sport Billy goes in for one last second harassment there to stop the Good Guys from the channel, but they eventually do. So 1 tribute going over to Good Guys, 1 for the playing Ducks. We're all tied up here. Slight amount of experience in lead for Team Good Guys. They're about to hit level 9, but nothing too hard for the playing Ducks to handle.
Now, there's also something that we've seen a few times. Look at the camp timing that has been taken here. You could actually argue that that was a bit too early, because ideally you would like to time the camp with one of the tributes, or at least when the tribute usually spawns, so that you make it difficult for your opponent to de-push it. That's not really happening here. But at this point, the Ducks have already faced reality, I feel, since the level 10 is going to hit earlier for the Good Guys, thanks to the globals. they're very unlikely to make a play for the third tribute anyways, unless they can close that gap here. But fighting against the heroic ability, if you don't have it yourself yet, is usually not happening.
Do note the level 7 adjustment here from our HGC getting Pinball Wizard. Anytime that he goes in for the power slide, Facement will do 300% more damage to a target. Looking to give that additional damage here to help Cassius secure those takedowns. With HGC not really being the offlaner here and not going into the stage dive, this is definitely a different pickup that you can grab on an HGC.
Yeah, there's a 10 just in time for the tribute fight, so they can still take it. Brightwing gathers experience top, is going to join the fight late. Nobody going for the channel just yet. And we still have Johanna and Sonya making their way down there, so it's a little bit low. Good silence here once again, stopping this a little bit more, but there's the interrupt as Johanna moves in, and Eternal is now with the team as well. Brightwing still going to try and stay for as long as possible. Ooh, the Blessed Shield missing. That is huge. Big cooldown sacrifice for 0 value. Nanda with a bit of a mistake here, and that could cost him the tribute and maybe even the fight.
But a good force wall, BKB on the other side. We'll have Wrath of Berserker pop tier for Eternal, looking for the fight. Sport Billy's inside, starting the channel. Can ETC get around and stop the actual channel? He's trying, does delay just in time while Brightwing comes into fight.
Brightwing goes in, BKB still in the back. Antihero looking for the drag. The mosh pit has hit, and it has hit too, and they're going for Vala immediately. Down she goes. That's the main damage dealer gone, and immediately the Ducks are attempting to rush away, but the stun hits Johanna, and Nanda is already incredibly low, tries to go for the Iron Skin once more and barely goes through the wall. Just squeezing through as we saw the body blocks hitting hard.
Team Good Guys working on that second tribute here. Gonna have a quick pause and we'll come on back, but getting that Vala, the instant pickup, allows for the fight to just be over, and you see the Playing Ducks realizing that they spread out right away, don't want to afford another loss there. Had they had a second member fall down, suddenly a boss becomes a very viable option for the Good Guys.
Yeah, and this was actually the first kill in the entire game, so we have a 1-0 kill lead, and now 2 tributes in favor of the Good Guys, and they are currently looking strong. Of course, didn't really help the Playing Ducks that the Blessed Shield was missed there. There was an attempt to maybe lock a target down and drop someone quickly. And so far, the global play is also pretty okay. It's nothing too fancy just yet, but we have Brightwing coming into the fights late.
Yeah.
Always trying to just get one more wave. One wave, maybe a second, and getting ahead in experience. And then later they can make that work also with the Haka. And we're going back into the game here to continue our last map in the best of 5 series.
Channel is finally not been grabbed yet. They're working on it, but Tassadar has been quite annoying. Johanna also on the bottom side, dropping the flashlight when she can. Same time, look at the victory up. The boss is being grabbed as Chris and crew go in for it. They don't intend to grab the tribute, they just wanted to grab the boss.
And this is, of course, again, the argument for Monster Hunter over Hot Pursuit on level 1 if you're going into this build, because you can drop the bosses so fast. And I think now the Good Guys are actually picking up on what's happening and starting their own boss. But it's a bit late even, so they start their boss as the top is already being pushed in. And Nanda is actually scouting it out. So this is going to be a pretty interesting situation here. The Haka is still able to move down, but at this point you have to commit to the boss. If you move away from it, your opponent is going to try and grab it.
The Haka even coming in too, so they will fully commit to the boss. They do get it here, so...
Safe call, but in hindsight, I mean, we have full vision.
Yeah.
We know what happens. But that the Haka burrow wasn't necessary, but of course it was the safe play from the Good Guys, since they didn't know that the Ducks were already backing off, and they were just assuming that this would at some point be a commitment.
With the double global, they'll send Brightwing back to defend against that boss, and she'll slowly chunk away at it. Tribute does spawn here too, and if they can grab this tribute, they'll be able to grab a curse and start pushing in, and that will make it a bit easier for them to defend this boss that has been grabbed in the top side. So working on it for now, ETC on the front, holding the choke. I like the Haka in ETC's positioning, very solid here, making it much easier for them to hold on. But hang on, Chris comes in from the side, brings up the damage while Kronas channels.
Great body blocks. Like, these body blocks were awesome. Now the boss at the bot lane is going to get sick value. The top has already been defended, so we need to see a reaction from the Playing Ducks, and that means that they have to abandon other avenues on the map. Very well played here by the Good Guys. Those body blocks and zone attempts against the Ducks were fantastic.
Kept Johanna away, stopped the channel from being interrupted. BKB goes in for a power slide, just trying to create the space here so his team can continue to work on these turrets and the forts. They're hoping to get a massive experience lead here with the curse. As Brightwing's working on the fort on the top side, the boss breaking down the keep wall. The silence in this choke prevents Vala from coming in and using a very solid bolt, because she could get caught out.
Yeah, the bot lane has already been broken through. The boss is starting to march towards the keep, and over here the fort is also taking damage as Brightwing is still busy up at the top lane. Boss for another 20 seconds, and this was already worth it. Level lead, taking camp after camp, spread out onto the lanes, so not losing out on too much. Just have to make sure that they're alive here. And with Kronos just flailing away and pushing everybody back, that works out for now. Brightwing has finally taken the top fort. So that was a pretty successful push there. Nothing too, I mean, it wasn't too insane. The Ducks didn't lose anyone on the attempt to go for the tribute, so it was still a 5 versus 5 on the map. But with everything that was available, the good guys dropped a lot of infrastructure and were also able to pick a significant experience lead that will lead into an early level 16, especially now since they're committing to the mid lane again.
Best part about that is they answered the boss call that was grabbed by the Planet Ducks in the top right. That could have been much worse for them, but them getting the curse just nullified that and allowed them to take the advantage instead. And now Team Good Guys are in the middle, floating around, starting to group up and maybe looking for a fight as they want to chunk down this fort that's already low, as they want to move towards that 16.
Yeah, and also with the, I mean, the Ducks are still in a situation where they only have one single tribute themselves. So it's not like another tribute on their part would immediately curse the good guys and allow them to get that experience back. So overall, I mean, this is rough for the Ducks. It really is. I mean, think about it. You have the 2-1 lead in the best of 5. You know what's on the line. You play on your best map. You lose in pretty dominant fashion on your opponent. Dominates throughout the entire game, and now you're on the 5th map and you know what's on the line here, and all of a sudden you find yourself a level behind, your opponent closes in on 16. This is, from a mental perspective, just, that's crushing.
They gotta find a way to shut down the global play, and they're actually trying to find one now. They know Dahaka's in the top lane. Thornall sniffs it out. Can they catch Anti? Anti with the wind speed, hoping to get out. Condemn does pop. Will Brightwing come in? No, they've made the call here. Go ahead and allow Dahaka to die, and that's a big play for playing Ducks to get experience here, and they shut down that top lane.
Yeah, I was always very suspicious of Brightwing. It feels like Brightwing is one of those like good weather friends that only comes in when there's a good time around, but Brightwing never really helps you when you're in trouble. It's like when you're really in danger, Brightwing is always like, nah.
You invite her out, and she's like, what's in it for me? What do I get? Is there mozzarella sticks? Can I come? If there's no mozzarella sticks, I'm not going. Hang on, though. Power slide and sport, Billy.
You know when you're moving and you just need some help, and then Brightwing is that friend that comes after the work is done when the barbecue just started. That's Brightwing.
Worst kind of friends, man.
Yeah, I hate these guys. All right, so anti-hero dies. Just accept it.
We all have those friends.
Yeah, we do.
My friend's named Carl.
Carl?
Carl. I hate Carl sometimes, man.
I hate Carl, too.
Well, big push in the bottom side as we're going to have BKB looking for a fight. He drops the mosh pit. He will find a Vala. The drag connects here. Could this be the moment for Team Good Guys? No, as Chris turns it around with the big multi-shot. 2 kills, looking for a third, and playing Ducks. Answer back.
Yeah, we need to look at that again. That was insane. I mean, that looked so good. The force wall even looked for a moment as if it would actually work against Vala instead in her favor. And now it's a quad kill against them. The playing Ducks dig deep, and they are able to get a quad kill, and they turn things around quite heavily.
Let's go ahead and take a look at it here. So we're going to have Tassadar buffing out. Wolf Joe turns around, heals up his teammate. Tassadar shield comes out. Chris bolts away, turns around with the multi-shot, and we just have the immediate condemn in to group up multiple members, and Zay and crew just fall apart.
Yeah, it was just them being so clumped up, not only because of Johanna, but because everybody was greeting for that Vala kill so heavily.
Yeah.
And then just everything comes to us. Oh, but BKB, what?
Trying to steal the boss.
I mean, okay, that's a okay, this is the perfect example of what we said when we had the player comparison between BKB and Nande. BKB is someone who is aggressive with these plays. And yes, if you move in, you push them away from the spot and you claim the boss, you're a hero. But at the same time now, he's dead for no real apparent reason. He moved into a position where no one else was following, so he dies. And now his team has to deal with a boss, and they are fully aware that there's still another one taken up at the top lane. So with ETC, they could have made a play where Brightwing and Dahaka try to defend against the boss, the rest of the team moves top, and then they simply let the Keep deal with the remaining hit points, move top lane and try to contest this. Now they have to give that up. So that pretty much showcases what we talked about earlier. He is very aggressive as a tank, and sometimes it works out in your favor, but this was a prime example when it backfires.
Short-sighted tunnel vision. Not working out there for BKB, going in for the big engage, and now another boss is pushing on this top side. And the Playing Ducks now have an experience lead and a curse pushing in into the late game.
With a boss.
And Team Good Guys are going to have to find a way to hold this push with Giants, a boss, and all 5 members pushing in.
Within 90 seconds, this game has completely turned. Completely. A full 180 here, as we are seeing a massive push through the top lane. 2-level lead for the Playing Ducks. And now the Ducks still have a chance here, and a big one at that. It's the 5th game, and the Good Guys have to somehow hold on. Let's see if they can make it work. Once again, the AoE comes in, Xay is low, and he's isolated. The force wall drops him. He's down 5 versus 4. Anti trying to escape on the Haka, but look at the Ducks as they are going straight for the core.
A mosh pit is a last-ditch attempt here for Team Good Guys, but it's not enough. Chris with the Hungering Arrow Bill and the Manticore is just shredding through this opponent, and that's going to be it here. Playing Ducks with the 3-2 victory. Sneak a solid victory, and you're right, the last 2 minutes of that game really spent in favor of the Playing Ducks. That turnaround in the bottom right definitely helps them out.
One fight.
One fight, it's all it takes sometimes.
All that they needed here. The Good Guys playing a great series, playing a good 5th map up to the point where all of a sudden in one battle the Ducks are looking way more crisp, more coordinated. They have a fantastic spot where they clump everyone up, drop their AoEs, and are able to turn the fight around. They kill 4 heroes in the process, follow it up with a staggered death against BKB later on. And then with boss and curse, they end the game. Pretty impressive. And that was
a close one.
That was a really close goal.
That was a really close one.
I did not think the game would end this way. That was a pretty big turnaround.
That was a cool moment, though. You saw where the Hungering Arrow build can be strong. When we had someone locked down, he dropped in the Hungering Arrow, vault away, Hungering Arrow again, and his health bar, without the help of Rhaegar, just jumped up in health, dropped the multi-shot, hit multiple people, and the AoE just cleared everyone in the way. So if you're trying to figure out where Hungering Arrow can be really good in a defensive position, right there. That is a really good replay for you to look at.
And also it helped them with chunking down these bosses when they were going for the attempts. Again, one of the most popular hybrid builds that we have right now is Hot Pursuit into the double talents for arrow on 4 and 7. But in this case, your thought process is, I want to take camps, and especially bosses. If I use my vault for the reset on the arrow and I have Monster Hunter, then I can chunk these bosses down super fast, can sneak that in. That's what we see with the first boss at the top lane when Rhaegar came in with a lightning bond as well. So great play here by the Ducks. They came back against No Global, and that was pretty impressive and must feel pretty good.
Oh, I mean, we have Wolf Joe to actually ask that question in particular. Wolf Joe, that series, does it feel pretty good to get the victory there?
Yeah, but it's that was exhausting, I can tell you.
Tell me, I want to ask you about game number 4. Towers of Doom is a battleground that we associate with you guys being very strong on, and we just saw Good Guys come out and do incredibly well. How do you take that beating, sorry for a lack of a better word, but come into game number 5 and be poised anyways and still get the victory?
I mean, like Towers, we did not expect to lose like that. Like we opted not for the double support here, and instead of a single blow-up com. But I don't know, we didn't have the confidence. We didn't engage at all. We didn't feel confident, and so they just rolled over us, and we lost it like no tomorrow.
What was the comms like though afterwards? How did you guys get back into a better mentality?
I mean, we were just like, let's go next. That's what you need to do. Like, you cannot think about it too hard. It's like, yeah, we don't like it. We made the plan already for the next game for Cursed, and it worked.
Awesome. Over to Caldor.
Someone is excited.
Yeah, look at him.
I mean, to be honest, the 5th game didn't look good for you. When that last push happened, you guys were behind in infrastructure, you were behind in experience, and you make it work with one single team fight, basically. How was communication like at this point?
I mean, we knew we needed to do something, so we were like, let's try go for the Haka pick up top, and it worked, and luckily. And we were all super nervous, and then it just happened one by one, and they overextended on bot. We got super like the AoE on them and crushed them, and then the game plan was clear: like take their boss, take the next tribute, take our boss, try to finish with it, and we got it. It was pretty good game plan by Billy.
Yeah, it worked out, but also a bit of a question from the draft, because what we saw the Good Guys do was every single time you approach them in draft, the first ban immediately went to Medivh. And then the one time on Cursed Hollow, did you think about picking Medivh up after they didn't ban it, or was from the get-go already clear to you that you would not use him?
We were not sure, but we knew what else we wanted to do. Like, Medivh is okay on this, but we didn't get any practice on him so much and didn't play him before, so we didn't want to mix stuff up. So we took what we were confident with and tried to pressure out all lanes, and it worked.
All right, so congratulations once again. It must feel pretty good also because you guys still have a pretty decent shot of getting out of the Crucible here. Who do you think are the realistic wins for you moving forward from this?
I mean, after this series, I need to say we need to step up for sure. Like, we cannot be that nervous. Like, this performance today will not be enough for either Liquid or Expert or anybody we need to be to not make it into Crucible. So I guess Liquid, Expert are the goals right now. Tricked, of course, Zealots, like the bottom.
All right, thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, good luck with the rest of your matches. You face off against Expert next week, so we're going to go ahead and let you go and start preparing just for that match, as you guys will need to get those victories. But before I let you go, any words to share with the fans at home?
I mean, shout out to all fans, shout out to everybody who cheer for us, shout out to Be Quiet and Playing Ducks for sponsoring us, and I hope we can make it out of Crucible and not play those this devastating series.
Congratulations to the Playing Ducks as they get a victory over the good guys, and good luck also because the road does not get easier. Expert next week they'll be facing off against, and they need to get those wins. In fact, let's look at the standings right now just to get an idea of where Wolf Joe